Welcome to our Trail Bike of the Year test. As always, we split the test into two categories, direct sales and shop bought. But before we get to the test proper, I want to introduce you to the individual bikes in the direct sales category. We've got the Privateer 141, we've got the YT Jeffsy, we've got the Propane Hugene, and the bike we're going to take a look at in this video is the Canyon Spectral CF9. At 4,649 pounds, the Spectral CF9 is the most expensive bike in the test. So, even if we look at the discounted prices, which I'll ignore for the main test, the Canyon is still 4,399 pounds. So whatever way you slice it, it's still the most expensive bike in the direct sales category. But just look at what you're getting for your money. A sleek full carbon frame that comes in 5 sizes, internal downtube storage, tool mounts, and the option to run 29-inch or 27.5-inch rear wheels. Because these flip chips on the chainstay, which Canyon seems to have borrowed from Specialized, correct the geometry 100% for either wheel size. That's neat, right? There's also a high-low flip chip in the seat stay assembly for adjusting the geometry further. In the low position, you're looking at a slack 63.5 degree head angle, a low 330mm BB height, and a relatively short 437mm chainstay length, and that's with the 29-inch rear wheel. The Canyon has really good numbers then. In terms of travel, the Spectral's running a 150mm fork and 140mm on the rear. Well, at least that's what Canyon claim it is. When I measured the travel, it was much closer to 135mm. So with that geo and that travel, things can get rowdy really fast on the Spectral. The bike is still really composed though, because the CF9 gets a RockShox Lyric Ultimate fork and an Ultimate Super Deluxe rear shock, which incidentally is exactly the same suspension components that you get on the YT Jeffsy, but we need to bear in mind that the Jeffsy has an alloy frame, not full carbon. We also need to remember that the Canyon gets a SRAM GX Axis drivetrain, not the S1000 that the Jeffsy sports. So either the Canyon's really competitive or the YT's overpriced. But is it actually any lighter? Let's get on the scales and find out. 14.94 kilos, that's almost 1 kilo lighter than the YT, but it's also 1 kilo heavier than the Propane, so it's right in the middle. And don't worry, I didn't forget to take the inner tube out before measuring it. And when I think about it, that's actually a competitive weight because the Canyon has a pretty unique feature on it that I'm going to show you right now. And it's this, Canyon's Keep It Stable steering technology. Or KIS for short. Not to be confused with a steering damper, KIS actually has springs inside the top tube that connect to a cam on the fork that recenter the wheel after deflection. And on the latest version, it's been tweaked to be less intrusive. So when you slide this forward to the minimum position, it's not actually strong enough to correct the steering with the friction of the tire on the ground, even though it will do it in the work stand. Crank it up by sliding the adjuster back like this and locking it down, and you really notice the steering stabilizing effect. Now, I've ridden quite a few different Canyons with KIS on it, and I can't decide if I like it or not. In some situations it feels really good, and in others it's kind of annoying. So it's really good that you can now adjust the strength of it here with nothing more than a multi-tool. Now, if you've watched any of our other bike group tests, you'll know that we like to fit the same control tires to all of the bikes to level the playing field both on the scales and on the trails. These are the stock tires from the other 3 bikes in the test. And for this test, WTB's come on board as a sponsor, so we're going to fit the Vigilante to the front and the Verdi to the rear, both in the soft compound, which they call high grip, and the light casing. And for getting the wheels out, Canyon's got this cool little quick release lever that's built into the axle. Makes it super easy. It's also got a Maxwell quick release on the front, so if you've got to take the wheels out to get this thing in the back of a hatchback, it makes it really fast. So that's the WTB tires fitted. I'm also going to fit WTB grips and a WTB Volt saddle, so all of the contact points on the bike are identical. So let's get it back on the scales and see if fitting those components has changed the weight. Let's see what it is. 15.16, so let's put on a little bit of weight. It's still super competitive though. I think with the Canyon, it's got great geometry, it's got great suspension components, and it's super adjustable, so it's definitely a contender in this test. And I want to make it clear, this was just a spotlight test to highlight some of the features on the Canyon CF9. We're going to have the full test coming soon with the Canyon, the Propane, the privateer, and the YT. So make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss that one. It's gonna be a biggie.